This is breaking news on WDSU.
Time now 7 o'clock. Thanks for staying with us here at WDSU News as we continue to follow breaking news. Several accidents and problems on the roads right now because of icy conditions. Several warnings are in place from NOPD telling you to just take your time. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, and we're also seeing some of our advisories and warnings when it comes to weather getting extended right now. Quaylen Murphy joining us with the latest advisory. Quaylen.
A new advisory issued, Randy and Christina. Winter weather advisory now for Metro New Orleans areas to the south. This is until noon today. I started to see those areas of sleet building in earlier this morning with concerns, and now the advisory has been issued officially. Ice accumulation, of course, the problem that we're seeing this morning with accumulation on those elevated surfaces, that's your bridges, your overpasses, so creating, of course, hazardous road conditions.
Welcome back. Time now 7:19. Thanks so much for sticking with us here at WDSU News as we continue to follow breaking news this morning, talking specifically about the mess that is on all of our roads right now across the New Orleans metro area. There are reports of a lot of ice on the interstates causing several accidents. Joining us live on Zoom is Michael Vincento from the Department of Transportation. Good morning, Michael. Good to have you on to update all of our viewers on what they need to know before they're heading out the door. It is a hot mess express right now. Give us a rundown of what you all are seeing on the roads.
Well, obviously, we're dealing with a little bit of ice on the roadways. You know, some unexpected rain and freezing temperatures came down, and that created for a potentially dangerous situation, or is a dangerous situation when the icy roads happen out there. But you know, we're just asking people again, the same sentiment that we shared on Monday with those temperatures is to stay home if you can through these temperatures, at least until things warm up. Once it gets above 35 degrees or so, we believe things will start to defrost. But if you have to go out, try to avoid elevated roadways. I know that may be tough if you're trying to get over the Crescent City connection or other elevated roadways, but if you can, stay home. And if you do have to get on the road, try to stay on roadways that are on the ground and not elevated, like any bridges or over any overpasses.
Now, Michael, when something like this happens and you can't go ahead and head out to treat the roads because it's already having an impact, what is the best thing for people to do who are on the roads right now, who may be stuck in some of these backups and all of this congestion that we are seeing right now?
Well, we are assembling our crews right now and trying to get them out the door to go to put some salt on those bridges like the Crescent City connection and district-wide to make sure that, you know, any area that has ice on it. But, you know, once it does have ice on it, you kind of have to wait for it to defrost in order for that salt to take effect. But we're just asking people, if you can, please stay home. You know, stay off those elevated expressways if at all possible. We know it's a difficult situation for some people because you may have to get to the West Bank or other areas that are connected by a bridge. But just please be patient. Please bear with us. I know it's tough to hear that when you're already sitting in traffic, but you know, this was some unexpected weather that we're dealing with. So please be patient with us. We're going to get our guys out there to get these roadways open and safe as soon as possible.
And Michael, really quickly, for those who may be stuck in all of this mess right now, remind them what they need to do if they see some of your crews heading out, trying to pass them so they can treat some of these bridges and overpasses. What is the best thing for them to do?
In regards to maybe being safe and aware near a cruise, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just being safe on the road. If you see some of the crews pulling up behind them, coming up, if they look back in their rear view mirror and they see, oh my gosh, you know, here's a truck here, what do I do? Just kind of remind them on some of the safety measures that they can take while they are stuck in this mess.
Well, it's not just today, it's every day. Anytime you see a DOTD crew or a work crew working on the road, please be aware, slow down a little bit, because there are people working in that field, but you know, they're going to be putting salt out this morning, and you want to stay a little bit further away to keep your car away from that salt. But don't try to fly by them. You know, just be patient. They are doing that because they're trying to make the roads safe here in Louisiana. It's for your safety. It's for our safety. So please be aware. Please be patient. Just go a little bit slower. Keep a little bit of distance. That's really when any kind of icy weather, you know, go slower, plan for more time on the roadway, and keep distance between you and other vehicles.
All right, Michael Vincento from Department of Transportation working hard for us. Thank you so much. We have crews, as he just mentioned, on the way to treat some of those bridges and those overpasses. Just into the newsroom from State Police, all overpass bridges on U.S. Highway 90 from St. Mary Parish here to New Orleans are closed because of these icy conditions. So that includes Lafourche Parish. The Sheriff's Office from Lafourche Parish is sending this message out as well. They said it's unclear when those bridges are expected to reopen, and that is why it really is just best. We cannot stress this enough to you. If you are at home and if you are watching and you need to go somewhere but you don't have to at this moment, it really is best for you to just stay home, wait it out. We, of course, will let you know as soon as these roads and all of these accidents clear up so that you can get to where you need to go and you can get there safely. Also, the NOPD wanting you to know that if you absolutely have to get out, you need to check your route before you head out the door. You can do so by going to streetwise.nola.gov. That is NOLA Ready's website. On it, you will see a list of all of the crashes they are tracking right now. You can also report some icy conditions where you are. That really is a good resource for you to use, especially for those people who just absolutely have to get out of the house right now. Several crashes, several accidents across New Orleans. Randy, I know you've been tracking them and keeping a close eye on some of the conditions right now. Where do we stand?
All right, let's go through the full list for you because we've got a lot to get to and a lot of new accidents are coming into our newsroom. So first of all, we're going to talk about our traffic coming inbound from the West Bank. So if you're traveling inbound from the West Bank, you need to travel towards the East Bank, specifically over the Crescent City Connection Bridge. This is what it looks like. This is our Terry Parkway camera. So you can already see the backups all the way towards Terry Parkway. These delays are going to continue through to Camp, and we've got a 6-car crash just past that point, still blocking roadways and blocking some of those lanes at Earhart Boulevard. So the delays here are just past Terry Parkway, kind of inching towards Lafayette right now. Again, as Christina mentioned, now is not the time to travel. In addition to our West Bank travelers right now, we also have 3 accidents over the Huey P. Long Bridge. So that is also causing some delays for commuters who are traveling from the West Bank to the East Bank over the Huey P. Long Bridge. So again, that's going to be for our West Bank travelers trying to get to the East Bank. This crash here, you can still see some of the flashing lights. We had an earlier vehicle fire here. This is the Poydras overpass. So for those of you who are traveling, say, from Metairie and you're coming off of the Carrollton Avenue overpass trying to get downtown, this crash has I-10 eastbound at Poydras still closed right now. So we're still seeing those major backups for travelers coming inbound from Metairie, and they're working on clearing this up. This should be cleared momentarily, but this is also an area where we're seeing a lot of ice. In addition to that, I-610 and I-10 for our travelers coming inbound out of New Orleans East. We are seeing some big problems for you all as well. So for I-10 westbound, if you're coming inbound from the New Orleans East area, we've got 2 lanes blocked at Elysian Fields, so that's causing some big delays. Also, I-610 eastbound at Elysian Fields also blocked. Christina.
Well, we have Heath Allen on the ground for us, giving us a closer look at what we're seeing at one of these accident sites. Heath Allen, I know you were joining us from Earhart. Give us a closer look at what you are seeing and, you know, your vantage point of how conditions are right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, the problem obviously is, as far as vantage point goes, is traffic. I'll step out and I'll give you an opportunity to see what we're talking about. Right here, this is Claiborne and basically at Earhart at the upraised portion there. So you see what happened. We had that moisture that came down here just an hour and a half ago. And as the temperature was still below freezing, it froze up on the upraised portions. And what happens is people aren't expecting that. The roads are clear, you know, the byways, highways, roadways, you know, that aren't upraised, they're clear, they're fine. And so then you do like this traffic is right here. You hit that upraised portion, and the next thing you know, you're spinning out of control, and you can't stop. And that's basically what's happening here and in various other places across the area. And what happens is all of a sudden you've got a real problem. When 1, 2, 3, or 4 cars start colliding with one another, then suddenly you've got a real issue. You heard the car fire, then suddenly it goes into another level. But you're looking at rush hour traffic right now, and all of these cars you're watching right now, even with the flashing blue lights up there on the overpass, they're still just flying up there, and they're just realizing as they get to that portion, get to that point and start slowing down because of the police lights, hey, there must be a problem. And the problem, obviously, is ice. And the problem is obviously right now because, as you were saying, it's going to warm up here in a little while. And when it does, that ice situation is going to go away. But right now during the rush hour traffic, right now as people are trying to get to and from work, you heard Michael Vincento talking about the fact that, you know, some people just simply have to get to work and there's an overpass or bridge or something between point A and point B that they're going to have to cross. So you're going to have to be extremely careful this morning. Extremely careful. This stuff is going to just jump up out of the middle of nowhere and bite you when you least expect it, especially on these upraised portions, of which there are certainly many in the city of New Orleans. And so the accidents you're talking about, that you're looking at right now, they're talking about minimal delays. Yeah, they're minimal delays at this point, but it's a big problem. And it can be a lot more if people aren't paying attention. And they're dotted now up and down Claiborne, up and down Jefferson Highway, here at Earhart. You saw the I-10 accident at Elysian Fields. They're starting to pop up everywhere. If you're leaving right now, take it easy. Take it easy. There's no place you need to go in that big a hurry because this is a problem that's going to be right now until it warms up a little bit and gets out of these freezing temperatures. The moisture that's on the road is going to cause you a problem because it's for a while going to be ice. For now, guys, back to you.
Welcome back. Time now 8:37. We appreciate your time this morning as we continue to follow breaking news at this hour. Several accidents across our roads and our interstates here in the New Orleans metro area, most of which are caused by a lot of ice that we are seeing this morning. Joining us live is Lieutenant Jonathan Forcade from New Orleans EMS. Thank you so much for your time this morning to give us an update on what we are seeing with this craziness this morning. I think the first question many people want answers to is, are you all seeing any major injuries at all?
Hey, good morning. So we've been responding to multiple motor vehicle collisions this morning. We've transported a few injuries, but nothing critical, just bumps and bruises as results of these collisions.
Good, great news. So no major injuries, just taking a few people to hospitals for bumps and bruises. Let's talk about some of the hot spots right now to those areas where you all responded to. What are you seeing right now?
We're seeing lots of ice on the Crescent City connection, on the Woodland Bridge, as well as a flyover, and really everywhere, the Pontchartrain Expressway, everywhere in the CBD area is still pretty icy. So we're just encouraging people, if you are already out there on the road, just drive very slowly. You know, black ice is really hard to see, and that's why we're seeing multiple collisions. And then also, please yield to our first responders who are out there helping other motorists.
Yeah, Lieutenant Forcade, if you can elaborate a little bit more on that, because I know as some of our drivers are stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, they may not know which direction you all are coming from, where the first responders are going. Just remind them on the importance of making sure they move out the way so you all can get to where you need to be.
Right, so normally first responders are going to be using the far left lane. So if there's an emergency vehicle approaching you, behind you, you want to move to the right and stop so we can proceed in that far left lane. And then again, it's just very important. It's scary when we're out there and working on an accident and, you know, people are driving by, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. And then in the icy conditions, we're seeing even secondary accidents where we're responding to one accident and someone will spin out right near us. So we just want to make sure that everybody continues to drive safely, especially when they see our first responders on the roadways.
Lieutenant Forcade, for people who are still out on the road this morning, maybe they haven't come across an icy patch. We know that the ice is still a concern at this hour. What is your best advice for drivers who may, God forbid, they come across an icy patch on some of those bridges, overpasses, or whatnot, and they don't know what to do? What do you do in a situation like that? Or what can you do?
The best thing to do is try to avoid any elevated roadways, right? So if you can take a detour on your morning commute to avoid any bridges or elevated roadways, that's the safest way. But if you do find that you are sliding You don't want to accelerate. You just want to, kind of ride it out and slide wherever you're going to slide until the vehicle comes to rest. If you are driving up an incline, you want to just be slow and steady. You don't want to try and accelerate quickly. That would make your wheels start to spin out from beneath the vehicle. And this also causes some sliding on that black ice. But really, the key is just to be slow. Take your time. Call work. Tell the boss, hey, look, I might be a little bit late this morning. Got to take it easy on the way to work. And if you see any barricaded roadways, don't go around any of those barricades. They're there for a reason.
All right, Lieutenant Jonathan Forcade from New Orleans EMS, thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you to all of, the crews who are out there responding and taking anybody to the hospital who may need to, which as of right now, no major injuries, thankfully, just a couple of bumps and bruises. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Couple of quick updates for you all this morning from Sewage and Water Board. They said because of what we're seeing on the roads right now, their West Bank customer service location will open today at noon. So they're going to give you a couple of hours. If that's somewhere you need to be today, they don't want you to come anywhere near there until noon because it is advised for you to stay home. That's the message you've heard throughout the morning. Also here in New Orleans, coming from Nola Reddy as well as other city leaders, a couple of the COVID-19 testing sites, the opening times have been delayed. Normally we see them open around 8 or 9 o'clock, but they're delayed right now because once again, you are advised to stay home. The city says that they're delaying the opening times at the Olario Center, UNO Lakefront Arena, the Lion Center and the Irish Channel, as well as Our Lady of the Sea Church in St. Roch because of the icy conditions on the road. So be sure to stay with us at WDSU for updates on when those testing sites need to be opened if you wanted to get tested for COVID-19, as well as any other reports and updates you need to know. Speaking of several changes on the road, Randy, minute by minute. What is going on this mess?
Well, first of all, Lieutenant Forcade did mention one of the hot spots right now is going to be along the Pontchartrain Expressway. We're going to get you a whole update on those traffic closures in just a moment. And of course, several new crashes into our newsroom. But our own Jennifer Crockett, we've got our own crews out there in the field right now, just keeping tabs of the current situations on the ground. She's joining us now from the Port of New Orleans, which is kind of right underneath the Pontchartrain Expressway there. And Jennifer, talk about how you're seeing things this morning.
It's a crawl all over the Crescent City, and here where I am at the convention center right near the port, you can see all the people waiting to cross the bridge. Photographer Drew McAllister is going to zoom in for me. You see this line of headlights? Well, they are all trying to loop around, get off Convention Center Boulevard, go up, get onto the on-ramp, loop around, and then get across the bridge. But there are problems on both sides. Right now, one lane is blocked on US 90 East at Camp Street because of ice on the roadway. And then there's also an accident on General de Gaulle. Drew, if you can show them. There is an elevated truck with a ladder on top of it going across the bridge right now, and you can kind of monitor just how closely they're going from street light pole to street light pole. It's taken them a solid minute just to clock that distance. And that's being a little bit generous. It may be 2 minutes. These cars really are not moving. And it's not just a problem here on the surface streets. Check out the on-ramp. Drew, if you can pan over to your left, you can see nothing but brake lights on the on-ramps. Of course, this is all spilling over onto our side streets. I came from near St. Charles Avenue this morning, uptown in the Garden District, and just trying to snake around to get to where I'm standing right now at the convention center. It took forever. There are people going the wrong way down one-way streets, people blowing through stop signs, trying to navigate around all of this traffic, only to get here, where you're gonna sit in it anyway. So the bridge is open, but it's at a crawl right now. So if you don't have to cross it in the next hour, you're not going to get across it anyway, so you might as well stay home and get another cup of coffee. Have another one for me. I've got some updates for you on the other bridges around town as well. You heard from Carlton Dufresne with the Causeway Commission a little bit earlier. He said the Huey P. Long Bridge is being closed down. They're having lots of problems there on that elevated bridge. A little better conditions, though, on the Bonnie Carey Spillway, which is still open, and also on the Causeway. Mr. Dufresne said that the weather there didn't get as bad. We didn't see as much sleet. It wasn't as cold there over the lake. And so the causeway is open right now. So we are having some improvements on those sides of bridges, but Tell you what, Crescent City Connection, it's at a crawl. That's the latest here from downtown. Back to you.
Yeah, you know, that's where we're seeing the most problems, like you mentioned there, Jen, in terms of the ice on the roadways and also in terms of our crashes. Just got this into our newsroom. We do see ice still on the Pontchartrain Expressway near Camp if you're traveling in that lake-bound direction. So the right lane is blocked there. So that's for those of you who are coming from the West Bank, traveling over the Crescent City Connection Bridge. You get to Camp, well, that right lane is blocked. So we're seeing a little bit of a bottleneck there still, pushing back to General de Gaulle there. Not as bad as what it was before, because we saw a lot of those earlier crashes both near Earhart and also near Camp clear up, but that ice patch is now causing some delays all the way back to General de Gaulle. In addition to that, we also have a new crash site. This is going to be along I-10 if you're traveling in the westbound direction, kind of near Canal and in Orleans. I believe that we do have a camera to kind of show you the traffic situations there. Again, this is going to be I-10 near Orleans. You can still see the flashing lights. I'm going to step out the way. You can see the flashing lights here and also right here. So we've got one lane of traffic blocked. It's going to be your right lane is blocked along I-10 in that westbound direction. And again, you are seeing those delays stretching back to about St. Bernard Avenue right now if you're traveling I-10 westbound from the New Orleans East area trying to make your way downtown. Again, we are going to advise you, still do not travel. Give us another hour or two before you even try to step out on the roadways and let some of this ice and this water kind of dissipate and get off of the roadways and make it a bit of a safer condition for you. This is another look at the Pontchartrain Expressway. This is the accident that we've been following pretty much all morning long. It's going to be right here near the Earhart exit for those of you who are traveling from the West Bank to the East Bank in that lake-bound direction. Still seeing those major delays, and as Jennifer Crockett was just telling us, a lot of this traffic is filtering off of the Pontchartrain Expressway, areas like O'Keefe, areas like Claiborne, areas like Tchoupitoulas, just to try and get off of the interstate. And again, that's where we're seeing those surface street delays building. Anywhere you travel right now around the Pontchartrain Expressway, if that is going to be your route, you're looking at anywhere from an extra 20 to 45-minute delay, depending on where you're coming from. If you're coming from the West Bank, it's going to take you a lot longer. And again, this is a look at the parking lot there along portions of Pontchartrain Expressway, traveling in that riverbound direction. So again, keep that in mind. We are seeing those major delays there in both directions across the Pontchartrain Expressway, and that is again due to ice and due to several crashes that we are still seeing out there. Jennifer touched on this. The Huey P. Long Bridge is closed right now. The Lapalco Bridge is closed, but if you are in Plaquemines Parish, we should add that the bridge there, the Belle Chase Bridge and the Belle Chase Tunnel, both of those are open. Plaquemines Parish leaders did tell us a little while ago that they spent the overnight and early morning hours putting out some salt and sand, just making sure that those two arteries are open for travel for those of you who are in Plaquemines Parish this morning. So that's certainly good news. Let's get a check of when we can possibly see some of this water dissipate. Quaylen, we need it all gone.
We do need it all gone, Randy. Not quite yet. I also want to bring up some other point as well. This is captured from David Mora right on Canal Street this morning outside the Old State Palace Theater. Some ice, of course. This is around what looks like the drainage pump maybe coming out the side of a building, but we're going to have spots that are picking up ice around local neighborhoods. So you're just walking around on your sidewalks, on your driveways, around the medians and the curbs. Just keep those icy patches in mind as well. You may just be stepping out. Maybe you're moving quickly this morning because you want to, you feel like you're behind already. Just be mindful of those small areas. Be cautious and aware. Those icy patches will stick around even once temperatures start to climb, I think, above the freezing mark. You'll have some spots that won't see some sunshine. They'll be shaded, and so we'll still have those issues too.
So let's check the time here. It is 9 o'clock. You are watching our extended coverage here at WDSU. Let's send things over to Randy, who is keeping a close eye on all of these accidents across our area. Randy.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that warm up. We do have breaking news right now. Christina, you mentioned the Department of Transportation out there getting our roads and our bridges in better shape. Well, the Huey P. Long Bridge just reopened to travel in both directions. So if you have to travel right now, and again, we are still advising that you don't, at least for the next hour, Huey P. Long Bridge has now reopened. Check out this crash site. So this is a look at the Claiborne flyover ramp for those of you who are, let's say, coming from the UMC Medical Center and you need to go to the West Bank. This is kind of what we're looking for, that Claiborne flyover ramp. You can either go to Claiborne this way, you can go to the West Bank Expressway, go towards the Crescent City Connection Bridge this way. Had an earlier crash here. They just moved it off to the side of the road. So this is now accessible to travel if you need to get towards Claiborne Avenue from I-10. However, the biggest issue again that we're seeing right now is going to be across the Pontchartrain Expressway with this parking lot. We still have that 6-car crash, which is going to be right up here in this corner of the screen, with those delays filtering back all the way towards General de Gaulle right now. So they're starting to slowly work themselves out. We're seeing an extra lane open, so that's kind of allowing for some of those delays to work themselves out. But just before this point, we do have a patch of ice on the Crescent City Connection Bridge towards the Pontchartrain Expressway at Camp. That has the right lane of travel blocked. So this is a lower level shot for you for those of you who are traveling towards the West Bank right now. You can see these delays here. This is for those of you who are traveling towards the Mississippi River Bridge. We have a crash site at General de Gaulle blocking 2 lanes of travel there. So that's why we're seeing those pretty hefty delays all the way back to Metairie Road right now. For those of you moving inbound from Metairie, traveling towards a Crescent City Connection Bridge, you're going to run into stop and go traffic beginning there at Metairie Road. That's going to continue all the way to General de Gaulle. So Pontchartrain Expressway is still going to be our hotspot. We do have one crash site, I-10 in the westbound direction at Canal. That's blocking 1 lane of travel. And then also the Lapalco Bridge is closed, as well as the Signet Bridge if you were in Jefferson Parish at this hour. So those are some of the hot spots on our roadways. Heath Allen has been tracking a lot of these accidents from the lower level for us, and he joins us now with what he's seeing this morning. Heath.
Good morning to you. Things are loosening up. You get that feeling things are warming up degree by degree. I was just checking. It was actually got to 32. Still freezing, but the temperature is going up. Behind me, as you see on the overpass over Earhart, that multi-car accident is slowly but surely being cleared. About a half an hour ago, traffic coming toward us was opened up. It had been non-existent. Those folks had been sitting there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Finally, that traffic began to move, and that's loosening things up. But you can still see the police officers in the left-hand lane going up onto the overpass here. They are still working to finish their investigation of that accident and clear the rest of the vehicles out of the way. Right above that, you see traffic not moving. It is indeed at a standstill. Traffic that's heading toward the Mississippi River Bridge, just almost at a standstill. It's creeping a little bit, if you see. And then certainly below that, traffic that's trying to get off into the city of New Orleans, pretty much at a standstill as well. Surface streets seem to be fine, and the traffic, although there's a lot of traffic that's been diverted from other areas, and the traffic patterns are a little bit different than they normally are. Surface streets are rolling pretty well. It's basically those upraised portions that we've been talking about all morning long. The moisture that fell a little bit earlier and accumulated, causing some unexpected patches of ice. It caused some very unexpected accidents. Those possibilities are still out there. And the bigger problem right now is just people not knowing that there's accidents in front of them and not knowing why the traffic is slowed down. They come flying up on that, and there's a chance of causing yet another accident or being part of one that's already occurred. So as everybody has been saying all morning long, give yourself some extra time if you have to get out, and if you don't have to get out, just don't. Wait till it warms up and all of this ice on the upraised portions of the highways and byways here in the city of New Orleans and the surrounding area finally simply goes away. Guys, back to you.
All right, Heath Allen live on the ground for us, giving us a great perspective. Heath, thank you. Now let's go to WDSU's Jennifer Crockett joining us live from the port with an update on road conditions where you are, Jen.
Well, it's still a crawl, Christina. We are seeing long lines of traffic trying to get across the Crescent City Connection. I'm going to step out so that you can see what I'm talking about. We're also seeing a blanket of fog move in across the Crescent City Connection. It looks like traffic is picking up a bit as you go to cross over the bridge, but just getting up on it, that's a whole nother scenario. I talked to a couple people. One lady said it took her an hour and 15 minutes to get from the Marigny to the convention center. Another couple trying to get to Turo for a lady's chemo treatments. They said it took them 2.5 hours to get from the West Bank to the East Bank. they're still not at the hospital right now. You see all these cars here, they are not moving. They are waiting to get across the Crescent City connection. Take a look at the on-ramp right now. It is speeding up a little bit as we've just seen a light change, but you can see, Drew, if you pan up a little bit, you can see that once you get onto the bridge, it's still pretty slow going. So the message, of course, we've been saying all morning is you're not going to get anywhere soon. So you might not get anywhere. You might as well not get anywhere at all. You might as well just stay home. We are seeing, as I said, traffic on the bridge is moving a little bit more steadily, but just getting up onto the Crescent City connection is a big problem. You heard Randy just a minute ago telling us that the Huey P. Long Bridge is now reopened. We're also told that the Causeway Bridge is open. But again, traffic trying to get to downtown, it is a parking lot, lots of stop and go traffic, lots of people trying to work their way around different surface streets, but they're all ending up in the same place. And right now, that seems to be right here. Reporting live from the Convention Center, I'm Jennifer Crockett. Back to you.